Namaskar. Welcome to the 90th episode of Granthyatra. Today we are going to discuss a collection of short stories. The name of this book is Ghar, Haravaleli, Manasa, or People with Lost Homes. The writer of this book is the well-known author V P Kale. In the 12 stories of this book, we shall meet men and women whose homes are lost. You might think I am getting this wrong. After all, a home is not something that gets lost. If a person can't find their home, we say that the person is lost. A home stays wherever it has been built. But in this collection, the writer is not talking about homes made up of bricks and mortar. He is talking about the relationships that give homes the warmth of love. The homes of these people have lost that quality. In the preface to his book, V P Kale writes, I was puzzled by so many families. I tried to solve these puzzles. They turned into stories. The puzzles remained. At times, the warmth of love in relationships is lost and they become dry and difficult. These stories talk about such relationships. Vasanta Purushottam Kale was born in the year 1933. By profession, he was an architect and worked at the municipal corporation. He wrote more than 60 books. His collections of short stories and collections of letters such as Apan Sare Arjun, Gulmohor, Goshta Hatatli Hoti, Mi Manus Shodtoy, One for the Road, Rangamanache, Vapurza are quite famous. His novels such as Taptapadi, Thikri and Vaat Ektichi are also well known. Kale was also popular for his storytelling performances. His book Ghar, Haravaleli, Manasa was published in 1981. In the very first story of this book, titled Struggle, we meet Rohini and Ratnakar, a newly married couple. Their family, comprising Ratnakar's parents, his elder brother and his wife, and the two of them, live in a small one-room apartment in Mumbai. Rohini, who has shifted to Mumbai after marriage from her spacious ancestral home in Kolhapur, finds this cramped living space unbearable. Ratnakar sympathizes with her feelings but is helpless. One day, they try to find some privacy by buying film tickets for Ratnakar's parents and for his brother and sister-in-law. Do their efforts come to fruition? The protagonist of the tale Sand is Surekha, an attractive and bold woman. However, her life has been compromised by her obligations towards her bedridden paralytic father and financial responsibilities. She has long stopped believing in the possibility of finding true love. When her colleague Shrikant expresses his love for her, she says, I am fully aware how much I detest my father, and I see how much my mother resents him these days. We look forward to his death that will liberate him. Revati, the protagonist of the tale Junction, is a brilliant woman. She is also financially independent. Yet, she is tormented by the animosity of her mother-in-law and sister-in-law. Her husband fails to give her any emotional support as he is posted at a different town. Fed up with the politics at home, Revati applies for a transfer to New Delhi. On learning this, her husband says to his friend, they have no sense of when to earn a point and when to let go. They are unable to gauge their strength and capacity. They cannot keep track of the distance they have travelled, their fellow travellers, their relationships with those companions, or their destination. Whether it is the educated woman like Revati or an experienced woman like my mother, they are all the same. All their energy is wasted in fighting for these minor battles of pride and position. What can I do if these two women cannot maintain a sound relationship in my absence? As for me, I want my mother as well as my wife. The protagonist of the tale Mid-Landing is Prerana, an accomplished physician. She is successful in her profession, but all her husband cares for is the physical relationship with her. He does not value her sharp intellect. Kale writes, She kept looking at both the doors alternately. Each one had a different world behind it. If she went to the door at the bottom of the staircase, there was a world which posed a new challenge every moment. Each of the beds there was a challenge to her intellect, to her medical expertise. That world had immense deference for her, respect for her intelligence, and admiration for her physical stamina. She was a force for good in that world. Her body did not matter there. Prerana looked at the door at the top of the stairs. There was another world beyond that door, but in that world, only her body mattered. She had no other identity there. She was only a body there. The protagonist of the tale, Out of Tune, is a great singer. However, her greedy parents have used her skill to earn money and fame, and in the process, they have turned her life into hell. They do not allow her to do anything else other than singing. After her marriage, the readers come to know that her husband has the same ambitions and is determined to pursue them with even more vigor than her parents. The protagonist of the story Wish Me Success is Sushma, who runs her household by herself. Her skilled husband is too lazy to work. He acknowledges the sacrifices his wife has to make, but is unwilling to work consistently at a job as he soon gets tired of mundane work. In the story Where Can He Go?, the writer portrays the helpless life of an old man. His older son has banished him from his home, and the younger son makes him do household chores. To add to his travails, young hooligans in the neighborhood harass the old man and make his life miserable. All these tales in the book describe the life of middle-class people living in Mumbai. Their lives are full of sorrow, yet their troubles do not necessarily arise from circumstances beyond their control, nor are they unsurmountable. It is possible to find solutions to their problems if only they and the people around them act with maturity and grace. But none of these characters have any desire to do so. And this is what troubles the writer. It makes his mind puzzled. The characters in these stories have been developed with such natural authenticity that the reader finds them familiar and relatable. These stories mirror the life of a common man and hence make us uneasy, for we have all seen such difficult relationships around us. Some stories and themes in this book, however, seem to be outdated now. For example, except for one or two instances, most women characters in these stories work outside home as a compromise to help with the family's expenses. They have no genuine interest in their careers. Similarly, most male characters are hungry for physical relations with their wives with no emotional involvement with them. Such characters at times appear unnatural. In some stories, women are held responsible for the troubles faced by the male protagonists. For example, Gaja, the protagonist of the story Message, is devastated because his wife has walked out on him. He spends his time at a hotel watching the illicit relationships of the rich while his old father looks after his young son. When Gaja's father watches Gaja's former wife plead with a doctor when her son from her second marriage falls sick, he wonders at the lack of her love for her older son. But the reader never learns the reasons for Gaja's former wife abandoning Gaja and her son. Sometimes Kale is also critical of modern life and technology. He holds them responsible for weakening of the bond of love between family members. In the story Machine, he writes about the protagonist Mukund Bhave, who is an engineer by profession. He has installed several modern gadgets in his home to make the life of his family comfortable. For example, a machine that welcomes inmates of the home when they return after work, cabinet compartments that open automatically, an automatic fan, a wardrobe that indicates the number of ironed clothes inside. Yet, Mukund is sad that all these conveniences have marred his married life. He believes that they have changed his wife, who no longer waits for him to return from work. Such stories mirror the belief systems and thought processes of the period when they were written. To tell us more about this writer, who has a whole generation of young readers in Maharashtra devour his books, we have with us today Dr. Taruja Bhosale.
भौतिक समृद्धीच्या मागे लागलेल्या माणसाचे पाय जमिनीवर नाहीत आणि ज्याचे पाय जमिनीवर नाहीत तो मातीशी काय इमान राखणार. कौटुंबिक जीवनातल्या प्रश्नाभोवती वपूंच्या कथा फेर धरतात. खरं तर जीवन सुखी समाधानी करायची जबाबदारी आपल्यावर आहे. वपूंच्या कथेतल्या नायिका नायक जर पाहिले तर प्रश्नाच्या मुळापर्यंत ते पोचतच नाहीत. उलट प्रश्न निर्माण केल्यामुळे जीवनातलं समाधान आनंद नष्ट होत आहे याची त्यांना फिकीरही नाही. का होतंय असं? तर माझ्याबरोबरच दुसऱ्याचंही जीवन तितकंच महत्त्वाचं आहे या विचाराचा इथे अभाव आहे. त्यामुळेच चार भिंतीत ती एकमेकांबरोबर राहतात पण एक नाहीत. कुणाचंच मन वाचता न आल्यामुळे केवळ नश्वर गोष्टीमध्येच ती रमतात आणि माणूस समजून न घेतल्यामुळे ती घर हरवलेली आहेत. शेवटी साहित्य म्हणजे समाजाचाच आरसा. वपूंनी आपल्या कथांच्याद्वारे वाचकांना विचार प्रवृत्त केला आहे. घर ही संकल्पना समजावून दिली आहे. आजही कौटुंबिक न्यायालयातले खटले पाहिले तर वपूंचं द्रष्टेपण लक्षात येतं. वपूंच्या कथांमधून हे प्रश्न अधोरेखित झाले आहेत. स्त्री ही केवळ भोगवस्तू आहे का? स्त्रीची कला म्हणजे केवळ पैसा मिळवून देणारं यंत्र आहे का? एखाद्या डॉक्टरनीने पेशंटच्या वेदना कमी करून त्याला शारीरिकदृष्ट्या तंदुरुस्त करायचं की केवळ पतीची शारीरिक भूक भागवत बसायचं? तसंच घरातले वृद्ध अडगळ वाटायला लागले तर आपल्या संस्कृतीचं काय आणि अंतिमतः कुठे जाणार आहोत आपण? या सर्व प्रश्नांची उत्तरं शोधण्याचं काम वपूंनी आपल्यावर सोपवलं आहे. मी स्वतः एक उत्तम समुपदेशक आहे. अनेक घटस्फोट थांबवलेले आहेत. ही सगळी घर हरवलेली माणसं होती. आज त्यांचे घर सावरले आहे. वपूंनी हेच विचाराचं अंजन आपल्या डोळ्यात घातलं आहे. 40 वर्षांपूर्वी वपूंनी ज्या कथा लिहिल्या ते चित्र आजही बदललेलं नाही. आजही घराला तडे गेलेले दिसतात. हे सावरणं खूप आवश्यक आहे. कुठं पोचायचं आहे हेच जर आपण विसरलो तर आपली फरफट होणार हे निश्चित. म्हणूनच आपण सर्वांनी घर हरवलेली माणसं न होता घर जपणारी माणसं होणं खूप आवश्यक आहे. धन्यवाद.
Kale was a perceptive writer. He firmly believed that everyone essentially possesses a beautiful mind, that relationships can be loving and can make life happy. When he observed situations in the society around him that were contrary to this belief, he was perturbed and wrote stories to depict this uneasiness. To say it in his own words, what does a person desire from his life? A compatible partner, income to sustain his family, children who may not top their classes but at least pass their exams, and a small house of their own. 90% of the people are content with this. If one is fortunate, aspirations, success, fame, foreign trips, talent for some art are added as a bonus. But most families are struggling with the basic aspirations in the first category. V P Kale is a writer who expresses such philosophy of life in an attractive manner through his writing. You will certainly like his book, Ghar, Haravaleli Manasa. In the next episode of Granthyatra, we shall explore a unique style of poetry written by a greatly admired poet. Until then, keep reading.